She thought it was just a chance encounter. A handsome stranger with a disarming smile. He needed help. Just a quick favor. She got into his car. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. He was the perfect gentleman, until he wasn't. This is how Ted Bundy hunted. Theodore Robert Bundy was born on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. From the start, his life was built on lies. Raised believing his mother was his sister and his grandparents were his parents, Bundy grew up in a household shrouded in secrecy. When he finally learned the truth about his illegitimate birth, something inside him broke. Those who knew him described a bright, charismatic young man. He studied psychology at the University of Washington, volunteered on a suicide hotline alongside crime writer Ann Rule, and even worked in politics. To everyone around him, Ted Bundy was charming, ambitious, the boy next door. But beneath the surface, darkness was growing. It began in 1974. Young women started disappearing across Washington state. College students with long, dark hair parted in the middle. Bundy's type. His method was simple, devastatingly effective. He'd approach them in public, pretend to be injured, an arm in a sling, crutches, or pose as authority, a police officer, a firefighter. "Could you help me with my sailboat?" he'd ask with that winning smile. "It's just over there." They trusted him. Why wouldn't they? On July 14, 1974, at Lake Sammamish State Park, dozens of witnesses saw him. A handsome man, calling himself Ted, asking women for help loading a sailboat onto his tan Volkswagen Beetle. That day, Janice Ott and Denise Naslin vanished. Their remains, and others, were later discovered on a remote hillside. Bludgeoned, strangled, violated, some decapitated. Bundy didn't just kill, he possessed. He returned to the bodies, grooming them, spending time with them until decomposition forced him away. The murders spread like a shadow. Utah, Idaho, Colorado. One woman survived to tell the tale. In November 1974, Carol DeRanche was lured by a man claiming to be a detective. He tried to handcuff her in his car. She fought. She escaped. She would later point him out in court. Ted Bundy. In 1975, a traffic stop in Utah changed everything. Police found burglar tools, handcuffs, a ski mask in his Beetle. Bundy was arrested, convicted of kidnapping DeRanche, but murder charges were coming in Colorado. Facing trial, Bundy, arrogant, narcissistic, chose to represent himself. In June 1977, he escaped by jumping from a courthouse window, recaptured days later. Then, on December 30th, 1977, he did it again, sawing through his jail cell ceiling and fleeing to Florida. January 15th, 1978, Florida State University, the Chi Omega sorority house. In the dead of night, Bundy slipped inside. In just 15 minutes, he attacked 4 women. Lisa Levy and Margaret Bowman were beaten to death. Levy's body bore bite marks, evidence that would later convict him. Weeks later, he abducted 12-year-old Kimberly Leach from her junior high school. Her body was found 2 months later. Finally, on February 15, 1978, a traffic stop in Pensacola ended the manhunt. Ted Bundy was caught for good. The trials were a spectacle. Bundy turned the courtroom into his stage, cross-examining witnesses, basking in the attention. He even married a fan, Carol Boone, during proceedings, and fathered a child with her. Bite mark evidence from the Chi Omega attack sealed his fate. Guilty. Death sentence. On death row, Bundy finally began confessing to 30 murders across 7 states. But investigators believe the true number is higher. He spoke of a compulsive entity inside him, driven by an insatiable need to possess. January 24th, 1989, Florida State Prison. Ted Bundy was strapped into the electric chair. As the current surged, crowds outside cheered. He died without remorse. Ted Bundy wasn't a monster lurking in alleys. He was the man who smiled at you, who seemed safe, trustworthy. His victims were young women with futures ahead of them, stolen by a predator hiding in plain sight. Their names must never be forgotten. Because evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it asks for help loading a sailboat.